Hey guys, I was looking to do a video the last 2 days, but just had a sore throat. Anyway, gonna do one this morning and go through the pain regardless. S&P, red day. Yesterday also red day, big red day. So Wednesday, Thursday also. But look at the close. It's decent, but it's trying to hold the support zone. I think we may bounce 1 or 2 days, but we're coming back down again. S&P is coming all the way back down again to this horizontal line 433, and then things will get very interesting. By then we'll probably be quite close to ascending support, and I think we're going to start flushing. I really do. The Nasdaq, also down almost 1%, and that's despite rallying and closing at the high of day. Started really badly. We had flushes in Nvidia, Tesla, Apple. Apple is the one that's been holding up the market the most, probably. That had a bad day. So, there's news on that. This is sort of market top stuff. You need a catalyst. If the macro news isn't going to do it, I mean, it will eventually, but maybe some independent micro news for some of these outstanding companies is the pin to pop it. So, you know, something's going to be the catalyst, and maybe we've seen it. I think we've seen the top, actually. I really do. So, but anyway, the Nasdaq did close around high of day, trying to reclaim this horizontal line. Didn't close above it, in my opinion, but thereabouts. I still think we're going to come back down, and this right shoulder will form. It's going to be bigger than the left shoulder. And then once we get back down here, we flush. The Dow Jones, it's already come all the way back down. It's bouncing around. It's ascending support because obviously the other markets bounced. I mean, today was a red day, but they did rally, so we're having a little bounce. But look at the Russell, weaker than the Dow Jones, down 1%, all the way to the ascending support. We may have a small bounce today, but if we have a red day today, I mean, the Russell will probably close below its ascending support. That's huge. The Dow Jones will start closing at its ascending support. That's pretty big. And the Nasdaq will start just looking to come all the way back down here on a big red day, which could be today. S&P will start to lose its horizontal support. So we're going to have some technical breakdowns, mini breakdowns, but they could really cascade very soon. So things look good for the drop. Now let's look at the banking stocks. XLF, nothing really massive to speak of, just more sideways action. However, the KBE, look at this, easily closed below the ascending. Now it's all about this horizontal line, and it's the same thing for the KRE. Look at this. This is weak. I think this pretty much lost its horizontal support. You could say it's just holding on. I don't want to zoom in and do the absolute perfect horizontal, but we're going to come back down here now, 40 on the KRE, KBE 35, and by then, okay, small bounce. One more flush after that, you're at the bear market lows. So I think the Russell is going to start moving all the way back down, right below 180. Okay, not today, next week or the week after, and we'll start coming back down to 172. And then you zoom out, oh, we're all the way down here. It just takes one more move and you're at new bear market lows. And the Nasdaq, which has probably seen the high in Nvidia, Apple, Tesla, and all these other FANG or whatever, Magnificent Seven, once they pop, and you know what, it might be worth just showing you, for example, Apple, look at this rally towards the end of day, just trying to pop its head up. For me, Apple, it's not going to be able to really close this gap. When, I don't know, you may have a bounce day, but it's not going to reclaim the highest. That's over. You're not getting to 200. In fact, you're not going to get above 188. You may close this gap, but otherwise, and once it does close this gap, if it goes there, when you roll over and start closing below 172, Apple's done. So, Tesla also, all these big names, look at the Netflix, that one's doing okay. Google's doing okay. Meta, indecisive, rollover once you close below 276. Microsoft, etc., etc. Nvidia also, had a really bad open. So I think my point is the markets are looking like a drop. It just takes one or two of these big boys to start flushing again, and it'll ruin it. But I think the banks may do it. The banks may do it and hit the Russell, and then it will just cascade into the others. Markets don't look that good. All right, let's look at interest rates. So interest rates 1 year just sideways action, always the same thing, but with a bias to the upside. 2 year, to be honest, we were down, right? I'm looking at Thursday, so I'm doing this Friday morning, but Thursday they were down. For me, it was a bit of fear in the market, so people probably just bought bonds, but the trend is intact. The trend is higher lows. It's looking for breaking out. In fact, if we had an update on Thursday, it would have just reached all-time highs of the bear market. So just a small retrace. But you got to ask yourself, if the market starts to crash, do yields come down? Do people buy bonds and therefore yields come down? I would say yes, they do, actually. All right, DXY, let's look at the dollar. It looks like it's topping a little bit at 105. Now you can see this little high here, but also the number 105. It's just a psychological number. I didn't see too much resistance on the way to 105.5 or 106, but it looks like we are just topping a little bit, Let's see what happens if we do come down. Do we start to retest 104.5 or do we go lower? It should see support at 103.5. I don't see us coming all the way back down to 103. Plus, I mean, because we've just gone all the way up here, we took out resistance because it came back down to 103 after hitting this resistance, but now we just took that out. So if it came all the way back down here, then it could bounce again and make a head and shoulders. But I think we'll just come back down a little bit, not really too much. So DXY just bullish sideways, small retracement, but still short-term bullish, to be honest. All right, let's look at commodities. Copper, down we go with the markets, to be honest. So I mean, I was never too bullish copper because the DXY and because of the markets. I just still think the market's going to come down. So, and the dollar's still strong, so there you go. Copper, I said it would be very, very hard to reclaim 3.954. There you go. This no longer is horizontal support. Let's just see how far down it goes. It could get to 3.68. It could get a bit lower. We'll see. It's just sideways down bias, I would say. Natural gas just toying with everyone each time, but at least we're bouncing here because you didn't want to see that come all the way back down to 2.5 again, because that'd be very, very unnerving, because at one day it's going to close below 2.5 and then bam, all the triggers get stopped, all the stops get triggered, sorry, and down it would come. But here we go, reversed a little bit. Now we wanted to see it basically test 3. Let's have that day where we close above 2.9 and test 3. Oil, okay, small drop, probably with the markets, but to be honest, we've seen oil go up despite the markets going down. In fact, the oil going up can lead markets to go down because it's just more inflation. Well, that's the way they see it. It's an indication of inflation, and therefore higher inflation means higher rates. So I feel like sometimes oil going up may send the markets down. It doesn't necessarily have to move with the markets as much, but I think small retracement, a bit like the DXY actually. It's funny, there's a similarity between the DXY and oil. But we could just come back down here, retest breakout, otherwise we may overshoot it. But to me, still onwards towards 90, this resistance, this descending resistance. Uranium had this retracement, and now we're just holding this resistance, this breakout, so prior resistance of 24.3-ish. 24.2 just becomes support, so holding that. Let's see what happens. Also kind of moved with the markets a bit, same sort of green candle here, but it's a red day closing the high of day. So uranium does tend to move with the markets, but to be honest, it's totally outperformed the markets and it's totally on breakout mode. So I'd love it to come down, but I don't expect it to. I think it's gonna more likely go to 28. So if I was long, I would stay long. I would buy dips. Uranium is very good. Gold and silver, they started to bounce a little bit. So gold, it looks like that 1915 zone, 1915 becomes support. The start of this move up comes back down. So that's okay. That's with the DXY also going sideways. So that makes sense. You can't really have gold go up too much if the dollar's screaming up. So let's see what happens. Let's see how gold trades with the markets and the dollar and yields. Mainly the dollar. I think the dollar is the biggest influence at the moment for gold. But so far, 1915 is the bounce zone. Kind of makes it makes sense. I said before 1900, you probably get this around 1910, 1915, and there you go, 1915. So that's nice. Silver also does the equivalent for that. For silver, it was more 23, big round number. That's where you start to get a bit of support. You can see these tails here, they were resistance and now support, which coincides with when gold was having support. So silver, let's see if we can reclaim. Gold, obviously resistance is supposed to be 1940/1950. Silver, I don't think it's going to do the same. I don't think it's going to get all the way up to 24/25. That's a big move. So I think you really need gold to start clearing 1950 to see silver start clearing 25, because it's gold has closed the gap on the ratio to silver, and I think gold has to prove itself for silver to start getting the power it sometimes has. Otherwise, on the way down, silver should be very strong here at 22, just above 22. And gold, of course, you'd expect a bit of strength if we start to come down to 1900, especially 1885. Just before moving on, look at platinum. Platinum absolutely got slaughtered yesterday. I saw a lot of companies, especially the big resource miners like BHP, Rio Tinto, they got destroyed, I think because of platinum. So that's interesting. I don't really know the news, but yeah, platinum got destroyed. Just noticed that. I don't usually cover platinum or palladium, but palladium's just grinding down. But platinum was I don't know if there must be some sort of news on that, but there you go. I saw some resource stocks get destroyed because of that. Let's look at the miners, the gold and silver miners. They're just following gold and silver, sort of curling just at their equivalent of the support zone. So you can see this is 1900 support equivalent for gold. That's how I see it, and therefore we're curling here. So maybe we start to have a bit of a green day if everything holds up today. The miners just need to break out of this zone, but for that you really need gold. So you need gold and silver to move up, and we're pretty dependent on the dollar. What would be ideal is if gold and silver moves up with the dollar, but maybe that takes a market crash. So that's why we're looking at all the assets together. But yeah, holding this zone, let's see if we have a curl and a move up. On the way down, we have the support. If we do move down, I don't think 28 will be support. I think we'll probably move all the way down to 27.5, actually. I think 28 is too close to where we are. So if, a bit like GDXJ, if you have gold and silver flushing 1900, you're going to expect us to come all the way down here, maybe even lower. And in fact, GDXJ is underperforming. You can see it's already at this mini gap zone. So it's under, GDX would normally be at 28 to match where GDXJ is now. Okay, that'll do. Bitcoin had a bit of a bounce. I'm not really sure why. It doesn't really need a reason. I think it's too little too late. I don't think we'll be able to close above 28,500, although it's possible. I doubt it though, especially if the market's going to come back down and after every good news gets dumped. So just watch the 25,000 close. Once you close below 25,000, you go to 20,000. So, all right, that'll do. Sorry, I'm just having a really bad sore throat. It's hard to talk. So I hope that was clear. I hope that was fast. And let's see what happens today. Good luck.